Well, the matches have been great, haven't they, Whitey?
This should be a real one, Jack.
Who do you think's going to win it?
I'm not going to pick any of these matches. They're too rough.
They've been close all the way, haven't they?
Sure.
Hi. How you doing? Jack Buck and Whitey Harris. And Top Star Bowling. We're very happy that you're here, and you're going to enjoy this session. Come on along. Hi, and welcome to Top Star Bowling from the Marlboro Lanes here in the village of Marlboro, just outside the city of St. Louis, the gateway to the west. And another fine match coming your way. A fellow who's back for the 4th consecutive week, and a challenger from the deep south. Before I introduce them, let me tell you a bit about the program. 3 games here on Top Star Bowling. Total pins count, $1,000 to the winner, and he comes back the next week, $500 to the loser. In addition, both bowlers are shooting for $2,500 in prize money, provided by King Louis shirts, $1,500 for the high series, $1,000 for the high game. So a lot of money to change hands, and let's bring on the people who will determine the prize money on this session. He's from Detroit. He is a former Masters champion, holds a lot of doubles titles with a fellow who usually goes with him, Joe Joseph. One of your favorites, Billy G. Billy Golembiewski. Joe, good to see you.
Nice to be back.
You're still hitting 1,000 here.
Yes, I'd like to make a habit out of this if I could.
1,000 percentage and $1,000 every week. It's a pretty good habit.
It sure is.
We have a fellow that perhaps you haven't seen too much of. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana. And he is here. He wants to become king of the hill and get rid of Billy G. And he is Dean Courtade. Dean, good to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jack.
How have you been hitting them in practice, all right?
Oh, very well. Very well. Hope I can do as well as on the show.
Hope you can, too. Let me hear you say Marlboro.
Marlboro.
That's the way they say it in Louisiana. Shake hands, fellas, and we'll have a good match, I'm sure. Good luck to both of you men. 3 games, total pins, and now we're all set on Top Star Bowling. Every team won the toss. Dean Courtade will be starting off. He's on 21. Boy, he really lifted that ball out there, and he carried. I think over the weeks we haven't seen anybody loft the ball as much as he did. Now, whether he's going to do that on every pitch or not, we don't know.
I don't think so, Jack, because when he came back, he had a peculiar look on his face like he hadn't intended to loft it that far out. But he got the strike. That's the main thing.
Now Billy G on 22. And he's in there. I have a lot to tell you about here on the match, and the fellow who will be chiming in and seated alongside is Jerome Whitey Harris, a member of the Brunswick Advisory Staff of Champions. He is the bowling expert on the show, and you'll be hearing from him. Billy G going for the double right now. Billy has changed his style. He's won 3 weeks in a row, but he hasn't totaled real well, and so he's way outside. And he seems to know what he's doing. He defeated Al Thompson. He defeated Chuck Wagner and Don Carter, 3 very formidable opponents. However, 646 is his high series, and he saw a bigger challenge here, and Dean Courtade knew he'd run into a hot one soon, so he has changed his style. And no double as the 4-pin was left, and you could see the different delivery at that time as opposed to the ball he lofted in the first frame.
You're right, Jack, but I think he does. It looks like that might be, he does loft the ball out, but at a low trajectory, rather than like that first one actually bounced out there.
Dean is a 200 average bowler. Holds a lot of the titles in the Southland. We haven't heard from too many people down around that territory, Whitey.
Well, the bowling in the South has been developing, Jack, and I think at one time it was thought bowling couldn't be in warmer climates, but of course this has been abandoned because of air conditioning and things like that. Dean
Courtade looking for a a strike and almost had the split. Leaves a 6-10. Of course, in other sports, we hear from people in the South, but I was talking about bowling in particular. The Hebert brothers in golf down there are very famous. Jay and Lionel. But Dean here is one of the first to make a mark, and perhaps I shouldn't use that phrase, in bowling from that position. He covers the spare. So a strike and 2 spares, and Billy G started with a double. Why do this Billy is using an approach that I think a lot of the non-professional bowlers would use, way outside, letting the ball do the work for him.
Yes, Jack, he's on it again. That first arrow he...
Boy, and he's hitting. He's getting good 10-pin action and driving through. Oftentimes when you throw from out there, the ball won't continue to drive through, but he's got good stuff on it.
I think, Jack, the average bowler, normally if he stands the right of the approach and tries to do that, is afraid of the channel to the right. But Billy's right on that arrow.
Billy said to me, if I throw it in the channel, he said, don't let it bother you. He's looking for yet another, and a thin hit leaves the 2-4-5. There's that pretty gal here again at Top Star Bowling. Oh, you see her down there.
I'm blocked off here, Jack. I can't hardly see her. Have you found out anything more about her?
I thought that's what was keeping you from keeping the score properly. You mean you have been looking over there?
No.
She's here every week. Now, I don't know any more about her. Billy G. covers. So he started with 3 in a row and then a spare. We've had no opens in the match. This is 3 games for $1,000. The lanes here at the Marlboro Lanes are certified by the American Bowling Congress. The series on Top Star Bowling is sanctioned by the ABC. Nice hit. Nice hit for Dean Courtade. By the time he gets back over there on 21, the Brunswick A2 automatic pin setter and ball return will have that ball back there ready for him. Time he uses the towel or the hand dryer or whatever, set to go. See, he used a firm forefinger on the ball. 8-10. Somehow you didn't expect to strike, despite the fact he was in the pocket.
Yeah, he was, well, he would be inside on that lane anyway, Jack, and his ball just held, and you will get an 8-10 with a hit like that. I'm sure Dean would agree, too, although he don't like to get it with a strike in the 4th frame.
Going for 1 pin. He brings down the 8 and opens in the 5th. The first open of our match.
Just in looking where Billy's standing on the approach, Jack, he's 14 boards to the right from the position that Dean is using.
Well, he's right down in the corner. And he's tapped. Leaves the 10-pin. This is the 4th week for Billy Golembiewski, and we've seen very few opens, and what opens he has had have been with splits. He doesn't miss these spares very often. It's the 5th frame for him. So Dean Courtade has 86 through the 5th, where he opened, and Billy G has 96 through the 4th with a spare up.
Billy G's been averaging, Jack, at least 5. You might say a 5+ average in strikes each game.
And he's in there again, and only that 10-pin in the 5th frame and the light hit in the 4th keeps him from sticking them together. He's had 2 spares. Billy G has averaged 207 and taking care of 3 challengers. There's a real mixer that time. He got back on one. He put that ball down very close to the foul line.
And remember my wise observation in the 1st and 2nd frames. I said he was lofting the ball, and every pitch so far he's laid on the foul line. Jack, and I think here now, he does a peculiar thing. Watch, he'll, not only does he look at his position, but he looks down at the ball when he, right now.
High hit gives him another split as he comes up with a 4-6. So that's his second split.
I think why some of these bowlers do those things like Dean does here, they look where the position of the ball is in their hand.
And a 9 count there. Billy G started with 3, 2 spares. He has a strike up. He's in the 7th frame. Billy from Detroit. There he is with another double. He was fretful here at the outset, wondering whether the new line that he was going to employ would do it for him. Well, there's no doubt so far, is there?
No, definitely. Actually, Jack, this is the first time I ever saw a pro bowler of Billy's ability rolling that way. Because normally they like to stay on the inside.
He may have found the secret. 2 3-baggers.
I noticed Ted Crome, who was sort of Billy's manager, travels with him quite a bit, give him a little round of applause, too. And I know it wasn't any kind of a signal because Ted don't do anything like that to advise Billy on his bowling.
And a pretty good mix-up for Dean. Boy, those splits really stopped him. And he's going back over to the lane now where he's had the 2 splits. He could have 5 in a row if he hadn't come up with it. 4 6, and what was the other, Whitey?
8-10.
8-10.
This is now. What would you do? Would you go for the pocket right now,
he'd
or
have
maybe
to keep
be a
throwing
little light?
because he was in there for on that 8-10. Make sure I get the ball out and turn it over. There he is. And that's his 3rd split on that lane. 4-7-9. Dean Courtade. 2-pin count. Another open for him. 3 opens, always splits. Billy G has had no opens. He's looking for 4 in a row.
He's going after his high game that he's got, Jack.
Which was?
235.
He barely got there, but he got them all. And that's 4 in a row for him in 7 strikes. He goes into the roll-off. He could end with 10 strikes and a 266.
How high you think he's going to reach for this one, Jack, you know, with his characteristic follow-through?
No, not this time. Didn't get up there. Stops the string. Keeps Dean in the match a bit more. 1, 2, 4, 8. It's a tough one to cover, Whitey, even for the good professional bowler.
Yeah, because Billy will have to go over to the left of that head pin, Jack. Carry it like you would a Brooklyn hit to take that 8-pin out in the back.
The way he's been throwing, he may slide right by. Well, he changed it around a little bit. He didn't throw the way he was throwing at the strikes. He's shooting his strikes one way and his spares another.
That's what I said.
Comes up with 222 through the 9th with a spare, 242 with a hit. And that will be the high game of this 13-week series. And he gets a 7 count. And he ends with 239, and that is the high game so far. And he's got a leg up on the 700 series. We saw what happened last week. Golembiewski was down to Don Carter at the end of the first game and came on to wipe him out and win the match. So if Dean can pop a couple right here, there's one out. He could end with 172 and go from there.
Dean actually is, being from the South, Jack, in New Orleans, has participated in the World Invitational Tournament in Chicago, which means that you certainly have to be a good bowler because you only are invited to this event.
And he got 9 there. Didn't matter too much as he left the 2-pin. Has to bring this back for 162. He's 77 pins behind. That's what it is. The first game is over. Dean Courtade with 3 splits ends with 162. Billy G with a total of 7 strikes ends with 239. At the conclusion of the second game, we'll have a chance to visit with a guest, but we want to get busy with the second game right now, and I haven't mentioned the fact that the winner of this match will be taking on Al Savas next week in Top Star Bowling. You know, Dean Courtade actually had 5 strikes in that first game, but nonetheless ended with 162 to Billy G's 239, which is the high single so far in this current series. Maybe, and I'm not rooting for one or the other, maybe it'll switch around in the second game. Let's see here on Top Star Bowling. And the leader in the match is the leadoff man in the second game, Billy G on 21, playing these lanes way outside, bombing those strikes. Had 7 of them in the first game, failed to get there this time. Of course, with that ball, Whitey, if he doesn't get there, he's not going to carry this. Thin hits aren't going to do him any good.
No, it has to be a fairly solid hit, Jack, and this was a good example there where you'll leave the 2-4-5 because it just don't hit hard enough.
Dean Courtade is playing inside now. He may just barely get to the hit pin, but may yet carry the strike. Billy was bearing down on that one because over the weeks we've seen this 2-4-5 and the 2-4-5-8 bother a lot of these bowlers. More so, I guess, than any other leave.
Well, it's just a matter of inches, Jack. Every game, I think, has that problem in it, and it sure applies to this game because that's all they're off.
Dean trying to get a start, lofted that ball way out. Now there was his hit. Now that wasn't a full pocket hit, but he carried it nicely.
It was light enough to swish those score kings back there.
We refer to the Brunswick A2 automatic pin setter and ball return, which gets the ball back so quickly. Oftentimes at the close of the match, we have a little time remaining, and we have some fun with it to see how many strikes they can throw in an allotted period of time. Is that a double form? No. That's what he needed as he trailed by 77 pins at the start. Got to start stringing them together. Dean Courtade from New Orleans, L.A., member of the Professional Bowlers Association, Brunswick Advisory Staff of Champions. And his spare. I think Dean was the first one to average 200 in a league for a season in New Orleans history.
Yes, he was, Jack, and that's from then on why he became the top star in that area. Oh, boy.
Can't argue with success. That Billy is way out there.
I had to say, oh, boy, Jack, because from our position here, his ball is out over the channel, and it's actually outside. When it hits the first arrow on the right, it's outside of that arrow. You probably have noted it from your position, too. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Spare and a strike. Now, he may have this other problem when he goes the other side. We talked about the thin hits. Now, he may come up with a lot of splits with that ball too high on the head pin.
Yeah, you're right. I think from his angle he's using, he won't be able to break up splits as easy if you had a ball coming in from an angle and swishing. He'll stand to the right, Jack, on the approach and go across the lane to pick this.
He's going to give it a whirl. So there's his first open of the match, whereas Dean Courtade had 3. In the first game, Billy G had none. If he had carried that strike in the second frame, things would have been different. He really has to get on one right now to take advantage of that open. Threw that one too far out and leaves the 2-4-5. There's no sense in camouflaging the fact that Dean has not won nearly as many titles as Billy Golembiewski. Billy's been around for a long time in top flight competition in a hotbed of bowling in Detroit. Really stacked up the titles.
Jack, I think the problem is this bowling game has been developing was that fellas like Dean in their areas never had an opportunity to go to the national tournaments, and it's only recently that this has developed.
Now they come from all over for these national tournaments.
That's true, and of course with the PBA Tour and things like that, that's brought a lot of new stars into the game.
And Top Star Bowling invites these bowlers from all over the country as well. There's a strike. Dean Courtade. Strike, 2 spares, and a strike. He's gotten a few of those pins back. Let's see if Billy G can bounce back from that open. And then a tap. Got a thin hit, a strike, a split, and now a tap as he runs the gamut here.
Billy will stand to the lefty approach, Jack. They all shoot the pins that are on their right or spares from this position. They put the ball out over the lane.
He was riding the rails with that one. When Billy won his second ABC Masters title, he rolled a record 223 average. Through the finals undefeated. This is his 5th frame. Hey, he's in there. When he's right with that ball, why, it's an obvious strike. Now, Dean Courtade, who has picked up a few of the pins, 9 of the pins by which he trailed, and he was 77 behind, can get some more of those pins back with a double. He's in the 5th frame. Might be a good one. He got that ball over the proper spot, so Billy G has 68 through the 4th with a strike up. Dean Courtade has 57 through the 3rd with a double.
I think when Dean looks down, Jack, he not only looks at where the position of his ball is, but how he has his thumb in that right at this particular time. Just glances down.
He just got his first double. And he couldn't cash in on it. That's a terrible spot for that one. If he was going to do anything with that double, well, he had to have a hit. Piled in on the head pin. Came up with a split to 4-6. So he can't get that momentum going for him. Face down the 6 pin.
That was his golden opportunity, Jack. Now we'll see if Billy will answer, and you could almost bet that he's going to be going for that strike.
He's looking for a double. Be a very telling blow. Telling not only on the score, but psychologically, too, on his opponent.
I'm so happy I called that one. That gives me...
Well, I knew he was going for a strike.
Well, getting it is the important part, and I predicted it.
All right, now what's he going to do? What's this?
He's going to get a strike.
Why don't you wait till they hit the pins? Dean Courtade has 113 through the 6th. Billy G has 68 through the 4th with a 3-bagger working. Dean Courtade, who had a split in the 6th frame, now bowls in the 7th. Trying to get something started. Billy G has 3 in a row, as well as a substantial lead here in the 2nd game. And a high hit and a 4-7. So our friend from New Orleans has experienced difficulties. Had 5 strikes in the first game. We point out again, he's had 3 so far in this one, but it's been a matter of putting them together and avoiding those splits. He had 3 in the first game and 1 in this game. Here's his 7th frame. And a spare.
Jack Dean belongs to the group of the pro bowlers who take 5 steps to the foul line, and so often in a lot of our instruction classes we recommend to the average bowler to take 4 steps. But they must always realize that a fellow like Dean has practiced a lot, and this is his business. That's why he can get down to a 5-step delivery.
4-7-9 confronts him after that hit. His second split in this game is 5th in the match. Billy G has had but one open. And the splits that Dean has had have been extremely difficult to bring back. It's the second time he's had the 4-7-9. Hey! Nothing to it. He gave it a whirl. Can't come any closer than that without getting it down.
He put that pin in front of that 9-pin, Jack. He really had that cut. That was the 4-pin. It slid in front of the 9-pin. Or slud, is that the expression?
Whatever you wish, buddy.
Okay.
He was looking for 4 in a row and ends with a 6-7-10.
You know, as you've commented, that the strangest thing when one bowler gets a split, and so often it's happened in these matches, the other one comes up and gets it right again. You know, it'd be interesting maybe to ask these fellas.
I think it applies to other sports, too, Whitey. Talk about it in a moment here. No, nothing to it. He gets a 7 count. You know, in baseball, the teams will go along 5 or 6 scoreless innings, and suddenly somebody will get a run, and the other ball club come back and get a run. And it applies in football and basketball, a lot of sports.
Yeah, that's true, Jack. I might like to explain right now that the ball went off into the gutter and struck that 10-pin. Well, in bowling, when the ball leaves the lane and gets into the gutter, if it does strike any wood that's on the lane or a pin like that, it doesn't count. So in that case, he just gets the 7 pins. He actually left 3 standing, although 1 was knocked out by the ball being in that channel. I didn't mean gutter.
And now he leaves the 2-pin. And the spare. Again, bowling now, it's a channel instead of gutter, and lane instead of alley, and pheasant instead of a turkey. Everything's upgraded.
Well, that's why when Bill Bogey and Jim Moran went into this business, that it impressed them so much with terms like that, and that's why they have such a beautiful house here at Marlboro.
Dean Courtade comes up with a strike. That was his 9th frame. He could go on to a 199. He never has had 3 in a row. Didn't get a double until this game. Well, didn't get it, but perhaps he's finding the groove for the 3rd game, which is just around the corner.
Yeah, Jack, I think he had a gamble with that pitch because he, in the last 2 frames, he got split, so he had to stay away from that head pin, and he almost got away with it.
Dean trying to unseat Billy G, who has won 3 in a row. Spare in the 10th frame, giving him 159, a 179 possibility. Started with a 162 game. It's quite different. And a 9 count. 178. Starting to say it's quite different bowling in these 3-game matches, a one-shot affair with rather unfamiliar surroundings. I know that Don Carter was commenting on it last week after he was defeated. 10th frame for Billy G. He could go on to a 199. He's had 5 strikes in this game.
Keeps bowling like he is. He could go on to be, what is it, the manager of this village of Marlboro if he keeps winning each week here.
It's been around for a long time. So the best he can do is 189. Quite a come down from his 239 opener, but nonetheless it appears to be good enough. He will gain an additional 12 pins and be 89 ahead. Billy covers all 3. So he had 239 and 189, 428, and Dean Courtade has totaled 340 at the end of 2 games. A good friend of mine here in St. Louis is Jackie Gold, and Jackie is the treasurer of the Elks Bowling League here in St. Louis. We want to talk about the Elks bowling, Jack, on a nationwide level. How many bowlers you have here, first of all?
Well, we have 16 teams in our league at the present time. That's 16 men's teams and 4 ladies teams.
And you have a national tournament every year?
Every year we have a national tournament, and there's something like 1,500 teams, if it's in the right location, that go there every year.
Mm-hmm. And there are even more than 1,500, some that don't go to the tournament.
Well, I would say there's at least 3 or 4 or 5 times that many all over the country that don't go to the tournament.
What role does bowling play in the scheme of things with the Elks?
Well, it's a good fellowship thing. They get to meet the fellas in the organization, and you find that they're dedicated to 35 weeks, and this way they get to see each other, and it creates a lot of good sportsmanship, and we have a lot of fun in it.
And you do a lot of serious work at the same time.
Oh, yeah. This is one of our play things where we relax a little bit, but there's a lot of serious work in it.
I know that we have the big sports celebrity dinner here, and you give away, what, about 10,000 pairs of shoes?
Well, they throughout the year, they give them out every week, but they raise the money to give out these shoes all year long, right?
And then, as a member of the Elks, you entertain the veterans around here?
Yeah, we have a Veteran Service Commission. We visit both hospitals every month, bringing live entertainment to the boys in the hospital.
Most of this would apply to the other fraternal organizations, too.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Jackie, thanks for the story, and enjoy the remainder of the match.
I sure will. Be my pleasure, Jack.
Right. Jackie Gold, our guest here. Speaking of fraternal organizations, I know a kid had told another, he said, my father is an elk, a moose, and a lion. And the other kid said, how much does it cost to see him? Well, back to the serious now. Billy G out in front in the third game coming up on Top Star Bowling. Well, if Dean Courtade is going to make a run at Billy G, he has to start right here as he leads off in the third game. He's 88 pins down. And simultaneously over they went. I can't help but remark, Whitey, that these bowlers who develop habits of cheering for their teammates use the same gestures out here in these lanes, even though they're competing against an individual.
Well, as you described it, Jack, it's just a habit that they've picked up, and it just stays with them every time they're out on the lanes.
Boy, that was a bomb right there. That ball really plowed through there. Billy G was right on that first arrow. When we're talking about those arrows, we're talking about the marks. How far down the lanes are they?
They're 15 feet out, Jack, and we use them in all our Learn to Bowl programs. They're actually called also range finders, and it's spot bowling. That's what it amounts to.
There he is. And you could tell he was high. If you pay attention to where his ball is rolling, he's trying to hit right over that first arrow. And he was just a bit to the inside of it and leaves the 4-7.
Jack, and the principle we use on the idea of spot bowling is that those range finders are 15 feet, the pins are 60 feet. They do not move, so why look at the pins? So that's what you're doing. You're hitting at a 15-foot target when you look at the range finders.
Billy G going for his spare in the second frame, and he gets it. We're watching Billy Golembiewski of Detroit, who's going for his 4th win on Top Star Bowling. He defeated Al Thompson, Chuck Wagner, Don Carter, and now he's trying to tuck away Dean Courtade. Dean wants to do something about it. That's a double, and that's the best start he's had. And he has yet to get a 3-bagger in the match. Let's see if this will be it as he moves over to 21. Notice how rapidly that ball is back.
Jack, that 88-pin difference in the way he's coming like an 88. You remember wartime?
Looking for 3, a big ball for Courtade. High hit, and he couldn't get the break. He left the 4-pin. Dean is 36 years old, from New Orleans, Louisiana. There's his spare. You're going to be hearing more and more of Courtade as the months and years go along. Even though he's not totaling high on Top Star Bowling here, he has had to qualify as a top star in order to appear here. A reminder about our ladies' matches, which are around the corner. Joy Abel, Laverne Carter. Back in the groove is Billy G. The winner of this match collects $1,000. loser 500, and the winner takes on Al Savis next week.
Billy needs about a 220 game, Jack, to knock off his high he's got of 646 for that top prize, too.
Thin hit, and the 2-pin.
I commented, Jack, about him getting that high game, failing to realize that Dean, all he would need is a few strikes in there, and he could top that 200 high that we have of 239 by Billy.
That's right. So even though he may not win this match, he could end up with a high game and have a crack at the $1,000 additional money. He started with a double and left a 4-pin in the 3rd frame. Here he is in the 4th. There he is. He's showing you something now, and he appears that he has just now become acclimated to the situation here. And it's too bad that he couldn't have started in a comparable fashion. Say, did you know that many neighborhood bowling centers are supplementing the facilities of the school system? Physical education directors are offering bowling as a regular course or as an intramural activity. It has a carryover feature that most other sports like. You're never too old to bowl or get strikes. Never too old to bowl or get strikes. There's another double for Courtade. Now Billy G with a spare up, bowling in the 5th frame. Right over that first arrow. And another strike. And so Courtade has 68 through the 3rd with a double. Billy G has 80 through the 4th with a strike up. Bill started this 3rd game 88 pins ahead. He's not letting up either. There's a double for him, his 4th strike of the game. Each has 4 strikes.
He looked like he worked just a little bit harder on that one, Jack, and he could be probably realizing that Courtade's striking. Of course, it's quite a climb this young fellow would have to make to overcome Billy.
He had about 3 different pins going after that 8-pin, Whitey, and got it. He could go on to a dandy game, as we indicated before. He could get a 278 and win $1,000 more than he expected to win. It's been high most of the way, but this time he didn't quite get up there. The thin hit leaves the 2-5.
I think he just, he had to throw that ball that way, Jack, on that lane. See, and he just was just outside of the head pin a bit and got that light hit.
For a while, like he was going to run by that 5-pin, but he didn't. Hey, if he had bowled this well in the first 2 games, why, we'd have a squeaker on our hands, despite the 239 opener, which Billy G enjoyed. First arrow. Boy, he's been really consistent. When he has hit his mark, he's gotten strikes. That was 3 in a row for Bill. And he didn't expect that one. He didn't expect that one, but he got it. That's 4 in a row.
I think he wants to protect that high game himself. He's not going to allow Dean, although Dean could go on to a 257 now, Jack, at this stage.
Dean has a spare up. And couldn't move that 4-pin out of there.
We can always say if and an if and, Jack, but Dean has really bowled a beautiful game this time because he's been right around that pocket with that 4-pin in the 3rd, that 2-5 hit and a 4-pin now. These are hits you could possibly carry.
This spare. In this match, Billy G has bowled 239, which stands as the high single for this particular 13-week series. The high game carries with it a $1,000 prize, the high series $1,500. Add the 8-10 and leaves the 8-pin. Bring it back for the spare, 205, 235.
He
Yes,
needed
sir.
that one to knock off that game, Jack. That's the only thing he could recover out of this match. And that rockin' 8-pin took that away from Dean.
Courtade had 3 splits in the first game and 2 in the second. He's had no misses. There's his spare for 205. He sits for a while while Billy G rolls in the 9th and 10th frames. And Bill has a 4-bagger going. 260 if he goes all the way. He's on his mark. That's 5. 5 in a row and a total of 7 strikes in this game. He had 5 in the second game, 7 in the first game.
He gives with that thumb, Jack, like what are these art critics when they study a picture? He's got that thumb and he's looking right over the thumb at the pins, possibly.
Real big follow through. It was a bit inside this time. There's his first strike in the 10th frame. What does he keep looking back at me for? I didn't tell him to move outside. He was leaving himself a little bit of a margin there if he didn't hit him in this match by telling me at the outset what he was going to do. He wanted us to understand what he was trying to accomplish. And there goes the 10-10, one more. Yeah, now they're going to have something to shoot at. Everybody in future weeks is going to have something to shoot at for that high game.
Sometimes those Brunswick score pins take a while to go down, and that one really took a while, Jack. The sweep was even coming down before it was on its way up in the back.
What has he left? He left the 4-7 in the second frame and the 2-pin in the fourth. And he ends with 258. .258 for Billy G. And a 686 series. In his 4th attempt at $1,000 top star bowling. He will have won 4 times. And he's got to win at least 500 next week, so that's $4,500. Could be more than that. Meanwhile, Dean Courtade can do no better than 225. Or rather, 224. Shooting at the 7-pin for the spare. Next week it's going to be Golembiewski and Savas, and they've locked horns before. Dean ends with an 8 count, 222, 562. And so the winner for the 4th week, this time with the 686 series, is Billy Golembiewski, this week over Dean Courtade. Our match is over, and for the 4th week in a row, Billy Golembiewski, the winner, and a chance to talk to the 2 bowlers after a while, but Billy rolled so many strikes, and Dean joined him in that last game. We have about 3 minutes remaining on the show. Do you have any more energy left, Bill?
Sure do.
Huh? How about having a little fun, see how many strikes you can get in 3 minutes, Dean?
All right, Jack.
All right, fire away, and we'll start with the buzzer, and you can go up there any time and throw the other guy's ball away. Do whatever you want. We'll have some fun here, and point out the speed of the ball return here on the Brunswick A2 automatic pin setters. Did he do that to you, Dean? There's another one. Bill, you're in the groove.
Come on, come on. That's it, Billy.
Next time you can do that to him, Dean.
Right.
30 seconds have gone by. And shooting only at strikes. Billy's got one so far. He better hide his ball or something, Dean. There's another one. Oh, you're trying to do? Re-rack it now, huh? We have a minute gone by. Still going. Let's change alleys now, huh? See how you can hit that other one. Unless you want to stay there. Yeah, now I make you change. One in a row, he said. This will be the 5th delivery for each. Where you throwing that? You want to switch? And less than a minute remaining. What's going on? Oh, what a dirty guy. And there's a strike, 25 seconds remaining. Each is bowled in 7 frames. 15 seconds. Hey, Bill. There's another one. You have to get rid of it before the buzzer sounds, Dean. And there's a strike. And that's going to do it. You won't have any more time. And a little additional fun, and we'll be back to talk to the bowlers and award the prize money in just a moment. Top Star Bowling is over for another week, with the exception of the awarding of the money, and Billy G, a winner for the 4th straight time. And Bill, I'm starting to think that G stands for greedy instead of Golembiewski.
Well, no, not exactly. Did you notice this week, Jack, I made a small adjustment out on the lane?
We were talking about it.
As a matter of fact, I moved so far to the right, I think I caught cold out there.
Uh-huh.
But I tried several different lines out there, and I thought I could score the best out there.
686, that gives the others something to shoot at in future weeks.
Yes, high game and high series.
Dean Courtade, it seemed that you had just started to feel at home out here.
Yes,
Third
I
game.
guess I relaxed a little bit, Jack, and then the line I was playing all the last 2 days in practice seemed to work real well.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to come up with $500 for you. That'll buy a lot of chicory and grits down there in New Orleans, won't it?
Yes, also a little red beans and rice.
Red beans and rice. Let's bring in the young lady who is a graduate of the John Robert Powers School of Modeling and the Pat Allen Agency here in St. Louis, Donna Stemme. Donna is carrying the checks this week.
I want to congratulate you and give you your check for $500.
Thank you very much, Anna.
And Billy, you've done a tremendous job, and we're proud of you.
Billy who?
Golembiewski.
Very good, Donna.
Thank you. Your check for $1,000.
Thank you. She must have been in rehearsal. Oh.
Dean, we'll see you along the line, and perhaps back again on another Top Star Bowling.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here, Jack, you and everyone, and I want to thank everyone for having me.
Mm-hmm. Billy, you know, Dean, nice hand for Dean. Billy reminded me that he was dumped the first time he was on here last year, right?
Yes, I lost my first match last year to Thurman Gibson, and...
You remember the fellow's name, don't you?
Well, when you lose, you do. But I just mentioned that Dean could possibly go all the way in the next series next year.
And perhaps. So now you have won $4,000, and you have the high series going, and there's $1,500 and $1,000 for the high game, and you're going to win at least $500 next week. How's everything, Bill? All right.
Real good. Let's go for 5 in a row.
Maybe you can afford to put your entire name on your back next week.
Oh, no.
Huh? Leave it like it is, huh?
Leave it the way it is.
Bill, you're always fun to watch and fun to be with.
Well,
congratulations
thank you,
once again. Billy Golembiewski. Meanwhile, coming along next week is fellows originally from Milwaukee, and Milwaukee and Detroit are always friendly rivals, and that's the way it'll be when Al Savis takes on Billy Golembiewski next week on Top Star Bowling. That's when we'll be back here at the Marlboro Lanes. It's located in the village of Marlboro, just beyond the city limits, city of St. Louis, and we certainly hope that you will be tuned in. Jack Buck speaking for Whitey Harris, and speaking right now, saying thanks for your time this time. Till next time, so long. Top Star Bowling has been presented by Brunswick, the #1 name bowling. Top Star Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress.